One of the hardest decisions that Michelle and I had to make was when we decided that I was going to sleep in a separate room because of my REM sleep disorder. We've been married for 37 years and have slept together practically every night since then, except when I was away working. That was a very hard decision. I made it primarily because I was concerned about her safety, her physical safety. If I were to thrash around or to act out my dreams, whether I was being chased or in a fight with someone, which I often do, I didn't want to in any way injure her. So we made that decision together, but it was very, very difficult.
Your ID, keep that in your fanny pack. And always wear something that's loose to cover it. I take the train and I take the buses, get all of the schedules from wherever you're going, where you live. And so you give that to the family so they know where your stops, where you're going, where you may be, where you may have gotten off. Make sure you know the times to depart, the times, the latest you can go, the earliest that you can go. You know what stops, so you're not going the wrong direction. So you keep all of those schedules with you. You learn the drivers because you see them. You learn their names. I give them commendations, so therefore they always look out for me. And then when you do ride, if it's on a train, then you ride in a seat that you're by yourself. And you never want to ride in a seat where someone sits behind you. That way you can keep your eye on everyone. Pay attention to them. And then if they say something to you or try to get into a conversation to distract you, sometimes I do say, no comprende. It just all depends. Sometimes you just ignore them and they'll go to the next person. I'm real friendly, but I've learned to not be too friendly when I'm in transit like that. And when you're on the airplane, they have a badge that we wear around our neck. And the sunflower thing for some airlines where they treat you royal because you have dementia. Before you go into the airport, have your ID and your credit card ready. Sometimes, like the family already have you checked in, but you still got to have it to show when you go through the airport.
Anybody that knows me knows that I really enjoy cooking. And I still do quite a bit of cooking, but I do it now with modification. I get easily distracted. So I have to set a timer. Say if I'm baking chicken and cooking rice on top of the stove, I have to set multiple timers. So at one point I was getting mixed up on which timer was for which. But now somebody let me know that I can, when I'm setting a timer on my phone, it will let me label the timer. So I find that to be extremely helpful. I burnt myself several times, so I have to be really, really mindful and pay really close attention to when it's time for me to touch something hot, making sure I'm using the mittens. And leaving the stove on, that's something I've done. So now I'm trying to double and triple check, make sure I'm cutting the stove off, when I finish cooking. Also, I think air fryers are good. You have to put in the time as well as the temperature. It won't start cooking without those things. So that's a safer way, much safer than the oven. Holiday meals, that's something I have to do differently as well. I can't cook a day or two before the holiday now. I have to start prepping a month in advance in order for me to enjoy the day along with my loved ones.
When you're trying to stay safe and cooking, especially when you live alone, it's very important to be mindful about the safety. So I make simpler recipes, ones I can break down into multiple steps. So I cut items up at a time, so I'm only concentrating on safe knife use at that point. But when using ovens or burners or toaster oven, I remember to stay in the moment. I make sure I go to the bathroom first. I remember that I'm just focusing on my cooking. So I stay by with the burners. I don't answer texts. I don't answer the phone. My phone isn't anywhere near me. The TV is off. I don't tend to listen to music if I'm doing something that I'm really trying to focus on. So I don't go to the bathroom. I don't get a drink, just anything like that. And I use a timer throughout to remember, does the recipe say to saute for 7 minutes on medium or whatever? So I use a timer, so that helps me to remember when to stop. If I'm using the oven and something cooks for like an hour or something, I will use the timer multiple times to check on it and things like that, just to make sure I don't burn it, or, because you can't stand by the oven for an hour, right? So I will, every 15 minutes or something, again, I use my timer. I love my timer.
In terms of safety, I think one of the biggest things that comes to mind is adequate lighting, especially like in bathrooms in darker areas. So lighting in every situation is most helpful to us.
People video everything now, and I've seen clips of me, and just the anger, the hostility toward other people, just not me. People would go, who is this guy? And that's how I got my nickname, and I didn't wear my shirt today that they gave me, the Wolf Man, because that is what I would turn into, is the Wolf Man. So I isolate myself to protect others, not me. I really don't, honestly, I don't care about me. But I care about the people that I'm around. I don't want to hurt anyone, whether it's emotionally or physically. The lack of empathy extends over everything. My judgments, my decision-making capabilities were going right out the window. I'm glad my wife is as vigilant as she is. So she knows when I say to her, I'm going to go kill those people, that I mean it. And that there's a high likelihood that I would do that. So she had asked me, don't you think it's time maybe we got rid of the firearms in the house and got them completely away? And then that takes away any inclination that I might have to do that. And I agreed with that. I think she feels a lot safer. I know my friends, my close friends that understand this, they feel safer. They feel safer for themselves. They felt safer for me. And in general, it was the right thing to do, and it was the right time to do that.